Hello. Well, it's about that time to do your final project. So what I'm going to try to do is a tutorial that's going to help you get through the steps to produce your project. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll help you, I hope. So this is simply a guide. Don't follow it to the letter. Do what works for you, considering some of you are more experienced than others and some of you have your own way of doing things. I'm going to try to go off the basic workflow that I've created for you and see what we can come up with. So last week I shot a urban farmer in central Toledo who is fighting with the city right now. They're saying he is using all of these empty lots for his own purposes to dump his mulch from his tree business. He is saying that he wants to beautify central Toledo, and he has done a lot of work on these plots. He has gotten rid of the bad soil, replaced it with good soil, planted trees. He plans on planting vegetables for his neighbors. We are doing a story on this for the Toledo Blade newspaper. So what I did is, since this is recent, I did a quick video clip of him to go with this for the training. So he actually did this video clip for you guys. I'm not using it for the blade. You're going to hear some wind in it, and that's just going to show you that wind matters when you don't have a quality microphone that prevents wind from being heard. I shot this on a Canon 5D Mark III DSLR, as well as the audio. So the audio is just a simple video clip with no external mics, no professional mics, right out of the camera. Okay? So the first thing you guys want to do is you want to, if you haven't done it already, you want to find a subject that's going to offer you visual variety. You're going to need about 10 to 15, possibly up to 20 pictures that's going to lend you enough variety where all of the pictures do not look the same. Okay? For this project, I shot 92 pictures, and I'm going to select photos from that. All right, so as you can see here, I have the project. So all of the ones that are in yellow or in pink, I've already selected and edited. So right to the left of each image is the original, and then to the right of the image is the cropped and the edited. Because I did mine outside, I didn't have to do any color correction at all. If you're outside shooting your project, just put it on auto white balance and it'll be just fine. If you're shooting anything on the inside, please pay attention to your fluorescent or your tungsten light and change your white balance in your camera, because you don't want to be taking that extra step in the post-editing process, fixing your color balance. Okay. So as you can see, I have a selection of pictures here that I shot, and this is the entire shoot. I deleted nothing. I wanted you guys to see my thought process as I shot this. So I'm just going to scroll up. We went to 3 different parcels of land. He had a supporter here. And he's talking about the soil on this picture, and then I asked him if he would pick up the soil and have a handful for a portrait within the series. So he picks up a big giant handful, and at first he's holding it down by his hips, and I said, no, bring it up, and he kept bringing it up, 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 up. So it was near his face, and his face is up in the sky where it's nice and clear. So the soil is the connection between the sky and the earth. So when you're doing something like this, someone is holding something, it needs to be up by the face, which is what I did. More pictures of him, here's a picture of of what he's planting. A car drives by and he waves to a car. That would be a nice ending shot. And then this very last clip is a .mov clip. This is the audio. And in Photo Mechanic, you can actually click on this file. If you double click on that file, it will allow you to hear it. So I double clicked on that audio file and then you can hear it. Okay, so I'm going to be doing a 2 to 3 minute video with the stills that I took this morning. So what I need from you is for you to state your name, and then this is only going to be like 2 minutes. So we visited 3 properties. So I was hoping to get you talking about briefly those 3 properties. And then the video will match the audio. So remember what I took pictures of, some of the bushes, some of the mulch, you holding the dirt. So things that are going to match what you're saying. So I'm just going to let you free stream it and without interruption. So do you need a minute to collect in your mind what you need to do? Remember the 3 properties that we visited, the addresses, what the shape it was in, and the shape it was in now, and then I'll use those pictures I took this morning. Okay? All right, so I'm going to, with my fingers, count 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to point to you, and then you can go. That'll give us a 3-second start. Okay? Okay, so as you can hear, that's me prompting him on what my hopes and intentions are on collecting the audio. And I wanted you to hear that. Normally I don't record that, but knowing I wanted to use this as an example, I recorded how I was prompting him. I wasn't telling him what to say, but giving him an idea of what I needed, and then letting him speak for the project. Okay, so that's the audio file. All right, so once you collect all of your images, so if you're shooting multiple days, it's best to always, when you get back from the day, take everything you shot for this final project and stick it into a final folder. So that should be called final folder, and then, or well, whatever you want to call it. I call this one Urban Farmer. So call that folder where everything's going to go into it by what the story is about, a 1 or 2 word slug. Okay, so this one's going to be called, if you can see up here, Urban Farmer. Everything goes into this folder that you're going to work with. So all your stills and then your audio. And eventually we're going to be copying those into once I'm done editing, I'm going to copy everything into another folder that I'm going to actually use for the production. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to quickly go through your stuff, and then you want to select what you think would be good. So in this situation, a close-up of his feet, because I don't want 15 pictures of him standing here. And unfortunately, this is the kind of project that, you know, he's not working in the farms right now. So if I was to actually do this for real, I would have other pictures of him planting, tilling, raking, dumping the mulch. All of that stuff would be a part of the series, but I'm only doing this for demonstrating final production for you guys. So you want to go through and you want to color tag. You want to color tag all of the pictures that you think would add to the project. So here's one that I like. So I've already went through, and if you can see, this picture here is the original. This picture here is the edited. Okay, so I always put an A after, when you pull this into Photoshop, you're going to just put an A after the original number, because it'll come right back after it. So you want to be able to see both of them side by side. So to demonstrate that, I have this picture here, And I haven't done it with this yet. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to drag it into Photoshop. And if I were you guys, I would select them all and then drag them all into Photoshop at the same time and work on it one at a time. Now Photoshop hasn't been open yet, so that's going to take a while. So remember, when you're looking at all your pictures, let's say now I'm done, I've edited them all. As you can see, they're all color coded. So the first thing I do is once you have an image in Photoshop, I crop it first. So I have the crop tool selected, and then I don't think I'm going to do any cropping with this. That's rare, but I don't need to, okay? So I'm going to double click on that. The next thing I want to do is go into adjustments and levels. And then I want to drag, for you guys, I want you to do it real simple. You're going to drag each end to the end of the mountains. That's really all you need to do. Now, so this one will control the brightness and the contrast for highlights. This one will control the darkness and the contrast for the darks. And this one in the middle will control the shadows and in between. Okay? So you kind of eyeball it. That looks pretty good. Hit OK. Now I'm happy with this picture. I'm going to go up to File. Always do Save As. Do not overwrite your original image. Now for your project, if you want to, and this might make it simpler when you're in post-production in Adobe, I'm going to name this Feet. And that way it's going to be easier to find when I'm in post-production. And you want to save as JPEGs. Adobe Premiere will only accept JPEG images. So please try not to work in RAW. Because if you work in RAW, you have to do that extra step of taking everything back into JPEG. Okay, so this is done. And then it will come back in here as the very last one. So when you rename all of your images, it should come back at the end of all of your pictures. Okay. Now I'm going to hit this button over here to the right of the bar, and here are all of the pictures for my show, and there are 19, which is perfect. All right. So I have my audio, and I'm going to edit this audio because it's a video file. I'm going to edit it right in Adobe Premiere. I'm not even going to worry about Audacity because I only have one audio file to worry about. If you guys are working with multiple audio, like 2 interviews and some background sound and maybe a song, a royalty-free song from Incompetech, you're going to want to edit your audio in Audacity first, then put it into your final folder. Okay, so I have all of my pictures here. Next thing you have to worry about is your captioning. Now, because this is a show, you don't need detailed captions for every single project. So I'm going to pull this over into a second folder. So I'm going to go up here, new folder, and I'm going to call this final folder. And then I'm either going to copy, select all, and I'm going to take these pictures and drag them into, make sure it goes in there, into the final folder. Alright. Okay, so now I'm done with that. I'm going to take this final folder, I'm going to drag it into Photo Mechanic. And these are all of the pictures. By separating them from the rest of the shoot, it keeps it really simple to work with. Now I'm going to do the captioning. So I'm going to go up to Image. Okay. So here I have the instructions on what you guys need to fill out for your initial skeleton caption. So write the caption here, start with a skeleton caption if your assignment was a photo story or sporting event. This means tag the same information for all photos at once. Event goes here. This would be Urban Farmer. It was shot in Toledo. It was shot in Ohio. It was shot in the USA. The creator photographer is you. Your copyright is you. Your slug goes here, which is also the name of the event. So all of this needs to be filled out for this whole entire shoot for copyright information. So on this situation, I'm going to do Urban Farmer Thomas Jackson stands on his land in central Toledo. So that's really all you need for this for now. Okay, now we're going to we can hit OK. We're going to select all of these pictures and we're going to apply the IPC stationary pad information. The nice thing about this, now when we look at all of the pictures, all of this metadata for your captioning is the same. So you don't have to redo this every single time. Okay. Now that, okay, this is the original. I'm going to get rid of that. Okay. Now it's time to do the captions one by one. So on this one, Urban Farmer stands in the dirt, so you have to and you don't need in central Toledo for every single one. Stands in the dirt that he posted. And then you go save. See right here, it says save and go to the next one. And then this is, I have the address for all of these plots. And I don't need in Toledo because we already know that. You just have to do detailed information that is relevant. So here, a pile of debris, neighbors, and you get the picture. Can you just go save as and you just go to the next one? And since that's the same, I'm going to Command C, go to the next one, Command V. So I don't have to rewrite it. So I would just, on here, he talks about holding a press conference. So when he talks about that, I'm going to put this picture up. Local media visits okay. So then you would go one by one and just write all your captions. So if you do this stuff before you even get into Adobe Premiere, you're going to make life for you so much easier. Okay. So now let's say these are all captioned, they're all ready to go. They're all edited in Photoshop, and now we're ready for the production part. Okay, so I'm going to reduce that, and then I'm going to open up Premiere. Oh, before I do that, that reminds me. Now's a good time to show you how to do the end slide and the beginning slide. Okay? So I need to pick one of these pictures that's going to be a really good beginning slide. So let's say we want to pick this one, okay? We want to choose this as the beginning slide to kick off your slideshow. So we're going to take this and we're going to pull it into Photoshop. And then we're going to hit this text tool. So the T over here to the left, that's your text tool. Okay? Once you hit that text tool, you have a menu up here. And this will cover, this is the font, this is the font type, this is the font size. And you can also change the font color. So obviously we're going to need it bigger than 12. So let's start with 60 point. So we're going to put 60 point. Let's do something like bold italic. And then you can choose what font you want. So if you're, depending on what your story is, depends on what font you want. So we're just going to do, let's do that one. That's pretty cool. Okay, and then we're going to start typing. Okay, and you can drag, and you can hold the mouse and drag if you want to change the font. I want this a little bigger. I'm going to make this 72. They only offer you 72, but you can come up here, click and drag, and make this whatever you want. So I'm going to do 100. I'm also going to do center. Okay, so when I did center, it came over here. You need to use the move tool. So go up here to the top, click the move tool, and then just kind of move it where you want it. Alright, so there's my title slide. It's really that simple. Alright? So if I wanted to make this the same color as the dirt, I would go back to the text tool. So you have to go back to the text tool and you would highlight and drag. And then this is your color box right here. If you click on that color box and then you click on the soil, it will change your text to whatever color you want, and you can actually match it to any color that's in your image. So you go up to the text, you go up to the color box, you click on that, you come over here, you click on the soil. So you say you want it to be light brown. Okay, so you like that, and then you hit the check there, and there it is. It matches the soil. So that's how you do your sizing and your coloring and your font type and your font size. And that's all it takes. So it's pretty simple. So you're going to be using possibly the move tool, the text tool, and that's it. Okay. Now, and then your center tool if you want it to be centered. Okay. Now we're going to go File. And we're going to, because this is a copy of a copy, we're just going to go right over it. We're just going to hit save and not save as. And we're going to call this the title slide. And this came in as a Photoshop file. You want to go down to hit JPEG. Make sure that's a JPEG because Adobe Premiere will not accept a Photoshop file. It's in the final folder. Hit save. And now our image is complete. Alright, so let's do an end image. And we can do an end, we need some space for the end image. We can do that. Let's choose this one. So we're going to take this, we're going to drag it down into Photoshop, and we're going to hit the text tool, and then we're going to write right into here. I know we're probably going to go, let's go start with 72. Let's start with, maybe we could do this light color here. So I'm going to hit here, and we're going to do this, a lighter color, hit OK. Photos by you. Let's do photos and production by, this would be your name. Okay, take the move tool, slide it over. Oh, that fits in there perfectly. All right, let's go back to the text tool, and let's say that you use background music by Compotech. By the way, if you guys use in Compotech or some background music, make sure you credit the site. So we're going to go here, music by Compotech, do the move tool, put it right here. There's our slide. So we're going to go File, we're going to do Save, we're going to do End Slide. It's in the final folder. We're going to change it to a JPEG. We're going to hit Save. All right, so there they are. So because we overwrote it, where'd you go? There it is. Okay, just took a minute. Okay, so now we want this to go into the trash. We want this to go into the trash because you want to clean up. You want to clean up your final folder before you even take it into Premiere to make life easier. So we have our beginning slide, we have our end slide, and make sure that it matches. Make sure your text font and everything matches. The size doesn't have to match, but certainly the font. We have our audio, so I think we are good to go. All right. So we're going to reduce that. So shooting the story, let's make sure that we're following along our guide here. Find a story that will give you visual variety. I've done that. You will have to select and edit at least 15. I have 19. Gather caption information for every identifiable person. I've done that. Gather audio for the base of the story. I've done that. Collect all the audio and put into a folder. That's done. Collect all stills and put into the folder. That's done. Drag the stills folder into the photo mechanic. Done that. Write a skeleton caption. I've done that. Color code. Blah blah blah. Edit every photo in Photoshop. I've done that. Auto editing. If you work in Audacity, I have a instructional video on my blog on how to work with Audacity. It's for podcasting, but it's the same. You can also use it for your audio. Okay. Adobe editing. All right, now we're ready for the editing part. So this is I've downloaded Premiere a couple days ago, and I used the free trial. You get 30 days free trial. Okay, so you guys can do this too. So I'm going to open it up. New project. Okay, so we're going to title this Urban Farmer. And then we're going to hit OK. Alright, so this should look familiar to you because we did this in class on Thursday. So when this comes up, the first thing that you're going to want to do is import your media. So we're going to go to File, Import, and as you can see, there are 4 boxes here. This is going to be your viewing box, but you're going to use this box for your auto editing if you've shot a video file and you plan on editing your audio using Premiere. So it is okay, so it pulled up, so you want to search, you want to go to desktop. Remember, save everything on your desktop so it's an easy find. Now I share my desktop with my kids, so there's a lot of stuff on here. Okay, and this is why your naming convention is so important, so it's easy to find. So here everything is in my final folder, so I'm going to double click on that or hit import. And it's going to import everything in that folder. Okay, when this file import failure pops up, do not freak out. It pops up because it's reading a file that is not supported, but it's a file we do not need. It comes with the audio file. So we're just going to hit OK because that file is not important. And here it will pop in lower left. Double click on that folder and drag it down here. And there are our pictures. Okay. The very first thing you want to do is you want to drag in your opening slide. Okay. So our title slide popped in. So the very first thing we're going to do is drag it onto our timeline. So we're going to take this and drag it onto our timeline. There's no need to double click on it. And if you're working with video clips, then you double click on it. This is your editing area, and it'll pop into there, but we don't need to edit still pictures in there. So you just take the picture you need and just drag it onto your timeline. Hopefully you will have a faster computer. This is going to be your real-time viewing. So this is what your show is going to look like and sound like. Okay, so here is our timeline. Okay. The next step is to lay down your audio track. So we're going to double click. We're going to find the MOV file, which is right here. And we're going to double click on that. And it will pop up here, and then you have to listen to it, and this right here is your mark in. That's where, when you hit that, it's when your audio will start, and this is your mark out, and this is when your audio will end. And you can actually do multiple in and outs, so you won't damage the audio file by taking pieces and parts of it and using it throughout. So right now I'm going to listen to it, and this is your scrubber bar.
So I was hoping to get bushes.
So we could just scroll forward until we know he's ready to talk.
Mind what you need to do. Remember the 3 properties that we visited, the shape it was in now, and then I'll use the, and I'm going to point to you, and then you can go.
My name is Tom.
Okay, so we're nearly there. So let's go back here, and I'm gonna do a scrub. I'm gonna do a marking right here.
My name is Thomas.
It's too soon, so I'm gonna back it off a bit and then remark it.
My name is Thomas
Perfect.
Jackson. We're surveying the properties at 1446 Macomber, 2325 Swiler, and 1505 Milburn. We're here today to take a look and tell the consistency of these beds, because bed number one, which is 1446 Macomber, there was a bunch of piles of wood chips, grass, leaves, and another mixture of special.
Now, if I was doing this story for the newspaper, I would have followed this farmer along as he was working on this property, and that's when I would have inserted the pictures of him actually working with the soil. I do have that stuff from last summer because I did do that already, but for this project, I'm just going to make it simple. So let's say that
2325 Swiler and 1505 Milburn.
okay, we're going to stop it right there, and I'm going to hit that mark out. Okay, so I'm going to take this, I'm going to drag it onto the timeline right after. So it starts here. So this is pretty small. We don't want it to be this small. Actually, this is only the audio, so we don't care about what's on top, because the audio will be going with the still pictures, and the still pictures will be on top of the video file, which will supersede it. Everything on top supersedes what's on the bottom. So we're going to listen to what he says.
My name is Thomas Jackson.
So actually, I'm going to put this under here. So I'm going to do the audio.
My name is Thomas.
Okay, I'm going to go back a bit. Because when he says my name is Thomas Jackson, I actually want him to begin talking when that title slide is up. And I have a feeling the title slide, where'd that go? Looks like it got rid of it. So we're just going to find that title slide and put it over. There we go.
My name is Thomas Jackson. We're surveying the properties at.
Okay, perfect. We don't have to worry about this because every photo we put on top of there will get rid of that video file. Now, remember, now this one will automatically do a bigger. This Premiere on my computer automatically does the picture big. If your picture is small or it's too blown up, then you want to make sure that your scrubber bar is over that image. You want to right click on your mouse and you want to go scale to frame, and it will make your image the right size to fill this area.
These at 1446 Macomber.
Okay, he mentioned 1446 Macomber. Now I'm going to find where he's standing in 1446 Macomber. That is actually he's standing on 1446 Macomber at the moment. So that is right here. So let's go ahead and throw that on there.
1446 Macomber, 22.
Okay, when he starts to say a different parcel of land, right there, you want to take this image and stop it. So you click on the end and drag it, because we're going to put the second parcel of land there.
6 Macomber.
Now I need to find the second parcel of land that he talked about. This is right here. I'm going to pull this over here.
2025 Swiler
and that's Swiler. So you take, see this right here, just kind of move it over so you can see where this is.
1505 Milburn.
All right.
2025 Swiler and
So you guys have to be pretty quick on the mouse. If you don't have a mouse, I would suggest you get one because this is going to be really hard without a mouse. This is going to be... Okay. Move that over here where he stops talking about Swiler. Alright, so now I look for the third property, which is... right here. So let's take that and put it here.
And 1505 Milburn.
All right, so 1505 Milburn. So we have just built the first part of our project, and you work from left to right. So the next thing I'm going to do, and I should have done this sooner, go up to File, Save As, and you want to save your project and you want to save it often. Because if this program crashes, which could have a tendency to do, you will lose everything you've done. So we're going to save it as Urban Farmer, and we're going to save it on the desktop. And we're going to hit Save. Now everything up to this point has been saved. So if it crashes, we can go back to it and we've lost nothing. But every time you make a major move, like every couple minutes, save your project. Okay, now the next thing we need to do is the second portion of the audio. So listen to what he has to say. Word about right here. So let's go back. Let's find the movie clip. And we're right here is where we ended. So let's listen what we need next.
We're here today to take a look and tell the consistency of these beds, because bed number one, which is 1446 Macumber, there was a bunch of piles of wood chips, grass, leaves, and another mixture, a special mixture that I use to create soil that I'm going to use for my organic farming. And the city of Toledo has issues with that. So I brought the news people out today.
Okay.
And another mixture of wood chips is 1446 Macumber.
Okay, we're going to mark in.
There was a bunch of
let's go back a little bit.
I
like where he says we're here today.
We're here.
Okay, let's go back to the scrubber bar right here. Let's start there.
We're here today to take a look and tell the consistency of these beds, because bed number one, which is 1446 Macumber, there was a bunch of piles of wood chips, grass, leaves, and another mixture, a special mixture that I use to create soil that I'm going to use for my organic farming. And the city of Toledo has issues with that. So I brought the news people out today to show them that the issues have been remediated.
Okay, so we're going to stop it there and we're going to hit the mark out. We're going to take this clip and drag it down here. And now we need to select pictures that will match this. So you can see how we're kind of piecing together our story. So he's talking about a mixture. All right, so I'm going to, this is not the right property. This is a different lot, but let's say this is the right, what he's talking about. So we're going to move this over here.
We're here today to take a look and tell the consistency of these beds.
Okay, so we have a little bit of rubbish there. This is the property across the street from it. I don't know if he talks about that. I don't remember. Make sure that you listen to your audio before you start cutting and pasting. But for time's sake, let's just go ahead and throw this in there. So take the scrubber bar down here. Okay, let's throw this in there.
of these beds, because bed number 1, which is a 1446 Macumber.
Okay, let's do that one now.
There was a bunch of piles of wood chips, grass, leaves, and another mixture, a special mixture that I used to.
And if we want, we can pull this, we can make it longer. So not only can we make it shorter, but we can make each one longer if we want to make that longer.
A mixture that I used to create soil.
Okay, to create soil. So he's talking about creating soil. Let's make this shorter. So click back on this box. He's picking up the soil.
And another mixture, a special mixture that I use to create soil that I'm going to use for my organic farming. And the city of Toledo has.
Okay, so we're going to have him holding
For my organic farming. And the city of Toledo has issues with that. So I brought the news.
Okay, he brought the news media. Oh, we're going to save. We're going to save. So save. Okay, he brought the news media out with him. Now is the time for the news media.
People out today to show them that the issues have been remediated.
Okay, so we're going to take this.
My name is Thomas Jackson. We're serving.
Okay, so let's go to the end. We're going to take this clip and we're going to drag it back so it stops where he stops talking about it. All right.
My name is Thomas Jackson.
Now we're going to end it. So let's continue on with the sound.
They're saying there's rats. They're saying there's garbage. They're saying there's debris. And there's
Oh, see where he says they're saying there's trash, garbage, debris? Now I have to go back and take what I used here earlier and sort of like not use those clips there because I need them when he's saying that. So you can already see the problems that I encounter when you don't know your audio. So what you want to do is when you're listening to your audio, you want to write down the parts he's talking about in order, almost like, when you're writing a research paper and you have to do a list of the points in order of what you're going to talk about. And that way you sort of know the pictures you need and when. So let's just say that these pieces were something else. I know I might be confusing you. But I really like where I have the pictures to match what he says.
They're saying there's rats. They're saying there's garbage.
Okay, so we're going to come here. We're going to come right here where he ended. We're going to hit the beginning part.
They're saying there's rats. They're saying there's garbage. They're saying there's debris. And they're saying there's wood chips. Well, none of those issues are here anymore.
Okay, so we're going to stop it there. We're going to drag that file over here. We're going to go and we're going to find these pictures. And we're going to split it in half so it matches. Alright, so let's go back to here. Whoop. Okay, I just double clicked on it and it made the screen bigger. If this happens to you, this is good that this is happening. If this happens to you, workspaces, reset save layout. And then it'll bring it back to where you originally were. That's what you do. You click on the timeline.
I brought the news people out today.
Alright, so that's where we were. So open that back up, pull this down. I know this feels like a hot mess to you guys, but you know what they say. Teaching is learning. And doing this, I'm learning.
Show them that the issues have been remediated.
All right, so this is where we were. So we take this and drag it. All right, so right there. All right, so let's say that we're done. All of our pictures are in. It matches perfectly. The next thing we're going to do is put in our end slide. So let's look for our end slide. So let's go back up to the movie, and we need him ending it. So let's go to
Thomas Jackson. We're surveying the properties at 1446 Macomber, 2225 Slider, and 1505 Milburn. Thank you. 20 years old that we transferred from another site. So, and the soil here is just rich, as in the other 3 sites, it's just rich soil.
Okay, so let's go back to where he says the soil.
Rich, as in the other 3 sites, another site.
Okay, let's do our mark in.
So, and the soil.
I don't want that so and.
So, and
right there.
The soil here is just rich, as in the other 3 sites, it's just rich soil. Thank you.
All right, so we're going to out, lay this under here, do the end slide to the end.
Yeah. The soil here is just rich, as in the other 3 sites, it's just rich soil. Thank you.
Okay. So let's say we want to put, let's go back up to the beginning. Click on this timeline to bring your cursor anywhere you want it to be. Let's say we want now transition put in there. Go to effects, go to video transitions, go to dissolve, and you want to take this cross dissolve and you want to drag it over in between.
Properties at.
And you see how that dissolved?
Properties at 1446
Watch this
Macomber.
one. That's a straight cut, and that's a dissolve. So you can use the straight cut for all of them. You can use the dissolve for all of them. You can use a dissolve on a couple of them if it makes sense. And you have the other ones. You have the zoom and the wipe and the slide and the page fill. Don't use any of that. We're going to stay professional and only use the dissolve, cross dissolve. Okay? Sometimes we use the additive dissolve if you have 2 clips that are similar and we've cut something. You don't want to make that cut obvious, but a cross dissolve is great for stuff like this. So you take it, you drag it, and you can do it really fast in between all of them. There's probably a way to bulk this, but we're going to undo that last one. Okay. And I think you get the point. All right.
1446 Macomber, 22.
All right. So now we are done. The next part is to, I'm going to save it one more time, and then I'm going to go to export. We're going to export media. Okay, so once you get to this point to saving it, first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you go down. This is your export box. You go here and you save the entire sequence. Because if you don't save the entire sequence, you're only going to save a portion of the show. So that's the very first thing you do, is you save the entire sequence. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is you want to, this is going to be QuickTime. We're going to change the title to Urban Farmer on your desktop. You save that. Video. You're going to change this to MPEG-4 video. You're going to change this to 1920 by 1080, but I think that'll be fine. This can stay at 25. Upper first. And we are going to export. So once you export it as an MP4 on your desktop, make sure you double click on that file and watch it in its entirety before you shut down your program, because there could be issues. There could be an error, there could be a time lag, there could be multiple issues that come with it. So make sure that you watch the video before you shut everything down. And I hope this helps get you through it, and good luck.